Hello, my name is Lydia Zarella, and I am a doctoral practicum student at the Student Counseling Center. Today, I will be presenting information on how our experiences with our families can influence how we act and think today. If you ever have questions about why you are the way you are, it may be as simple as looking at the environment you came from. In this presentation, we will cover the definition of a family, functions of a family, and how family influences mental health and self-identity. We will talk specifically about topics of attachment, memory formation, behavioral learning, and value formation. Lastly, we will discuss information on how to break some of the patterns that you may have fallen into. Definition of a family. There is none. The definition of a family has evolved over the years, and it is highly up for personal interpretation. There is no right or wrong way to define a family. Everyone's situation is unique. Here are some typical functions of a family. First, families provide basic needs. Basic needs can include shelter, clothing, food, financial support, or providing means to maintain physical health, such as getting medical services. Second, families provide care. Families also model how care is given and exchanged amongst one another. Third, families can model relationships and communication. This then sets the stage for how we interact with others out in the community. Fourth, families model gender roles and parenting skills. Parents typically and naturally model gender roles as they are uniquely defined within their family. Their offspring will naturally mimic or believe the gender roles that they were taught. Fifth, families teach values and traditions, while also teaching the values and traditions of their larger culture or community. Lastly, families provide a sense of belongingness. It is human nature to want to feel connected to others. The family provides the first experience with this connection. These functions of a family allow for ideas and values to be passed down through generations. Eventually, the generational lessons and values will be passed on to you. Sometimes, genetics that are passed on can also play a role in mental health and behavior. Chemical imbalances truly exist. This presentation is going to spend most of the time talking about the environmental factors that play a role in mental health, behavioral patterns, and self-identity. The 4 environmental factors that we will talk about are attachment, memory formation, behavioral learning, and value formation. Attachment refers to the type of emotional bond that an infant develops with a caregiver within the first 18 months. This type of relationship that we have with a caregiver can set the stage for how we interact with other people and experience the world around us. This chart provides different attachment styles and how each style can lead to behavioral and relational outcomes. The first style of attachment describes a caregiver that appropriately and consistently responds to their child. This child will most likely have a higher sense of self-esteem and do well in social situations and relationships. The second style of attachment describes a caregiver that provides little or no response to a child's needs. This child may struggle to make connections with others, avoid relationships, or have low self-esteem. The third style of attachment describes a caregiver that changes between appropriate and neglectful responses to a child. This inconsistency may cause the child to yearn for connection and experience distress upon separation from others. This child may also experience high anxiety and anger in social relationships. The last type of attachment describes a caregiver that is aggressive or frightening to the child. This child may experience anger in social relationships or avoid relationships altogether. This child may also experience high anxiety. Another factor that can influence one's mental health and self-identity is memory formation. The memories that stick with us the most are the ones that have intense emotions associated with them. When similar situations to these memories happen in our present-day lives, The emotions that are connected with that memory may resurface, and our mind and bodies react. This process often occurs spontaneously and unconsciously. This process can also play a role in how we behave and experience our world today. Here are some examples of this process. In example number 1, Jack becomes frightened and anxious around large dogs because he had a scary experience with a large dog when he was a young boy. Here, Jack's fear resurfaces as an adult when he is reminded of a fearful experience from the past. In example number 2, Jill finds herself becoming angry and feeling bad when her boyfriend doesn't return her text right away. This may be because her father used to ignore Jill as a child. When this memory of being ignored is triggered in her present day life, she reacts negatively and may believe she is worthless. In example number 3, Joe remembers how badly it felt to get a B grade when he was younger and feels bad again today when he gets a B grade. Joe may also believe he is a failure. Another factor that can influence one's mental health and self-identity is behavioral learning. As a child grows up, they learn from their parents or caregivers how to behave and interact with other people. In example number 1, Joey has learned from his father to drink alcohol when he is stressed. Therefore, Joey drinks alcohol as an adult to cope with stressful times. In example number 2, Mary's grandmother would be a model for someone that is anxious and cautious of others. Mary learned from her grandmother to be the same way today. Caregivers can also reinforce behaviors of their child by using rewards and punishment. In example number 1, Matt learned that men should be aggressive and not emotional. Today, this interferes with him having fulfilling relationships. In example number 2, Laura's parents taught her through punishment that she ate too much and didn't have a good enough body type. Laura then learned to restrict her eating in order to avoid being punished again. Laura may have also learned that she is a bad person. The last factor that can influence one's mental health and self-identity is value formation. Families help us form values and beliefs about ourselves, our environment, and our culture. These values and beliefs can shape how we act and relate to others in our present-day lives. In example number 1, Samantha learned the belief that women are to be hit by men. By no fault of her own, she carried this belief as an expected and normal part of a woman's life. She is allowing the abuse to continue in her current relationship because she may feel that this is how life is supposed to be. In example number 2, Michael has learned to highly value academics to the point where he exudes extensive time and energy to live up to his family standards. This pressure may cause Michael to feel depressed to the point where he is questioning his desire to live. Our past may have shaped who we are today, but it doesn't mean that you have to continue letting the past control your future. If you are concerned about any of your behaviors or the way you feel about yourself, talk about it. Seeking guidance from a counselor can help you better understand why you are the way you are. You can gain clarity as to how your past may be influencing how you act and feel today. Once that clarity is achieved, you and your counselor can discuss ways to make healthy changes in your life and break the cycle. In order to start this process, you can contact the Counseling Center at 215-895-1415 or counseling@drexel.edu to make an appointment. You can also learn more about the Counseling Center at drexel.edu/ch.